Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Jackson here. Today, we're going to continue with our nonfiction text and talk about our text features. Let's go over our I can statements first. Today, we're going to look at our I can statements of I can use simple reference materials and I can identify and use text features. Now, remember, I told you that we're going to be working on a plant research project. So that is where I can use simple reference materials comes in. When you go on PebbleGo and do research on a topic, or you use a nonfiction text and find information using your headings and photographs and captions and your glossary, boldface words, all those nonfiction text features. These are all simple reference materials that you can use. And we're going to be able to identify and use text features to help us learn about our topic. Now, our topic in this book, remember, plants and flowers. So we're going to be learning all about plants and flowers. Now, in order to do your research project on plants, you need to know a lot of things, like what do plants need to grow? What are the parts of a plant and what do they do? What types of things do we get from plants? All that is going to be answered in this book, this nonfiction text, Plants and Flowers. So let's get started. One of the things I notice about this nonfiction text, if I had a specific question about how seeds are made, I can look and see, using this text feature, the table of contents to find information. If I look down here, it says, using plants, growing plants, making food, name the parts. Right here, it says fruits and seeds. Fruits and seeds. Underneath that, it says spreading seeds. So there's a lot of information about seeds. But if I look at fruits and seeds, I see that I can find that information on page 22 of this text. Another thing that I can find out is, as I'm going through the book, I see a lot of words in boldface print. I see the word veins, stem, bulbs, leaves, energy, all of those are in bold print. That tells me that at the back of the book, I'm going to find a glossary. Now this says useful words, but that is the same thing as a glossary. You see in the glossary all of your boldface words and the definitions. So if I'm not sure what a word means when I'm reading, if it's in boldface, I can go to the glossary to find out that information. There are also some boxes here that say, look again. And that tells us to reread. That's something that all good readers do. We reread our text to make sure we understand the information that the author is trying to teach us about our topic. Now, if I have a question, but my question wasn't really answered, I can also go to the index, another nonfiction text feature. If I have a question about insects that was not answered, I can go and look in the index and see that it says insects, pages 19, 20, 21, and 26. Those are all the pages that talk about insects. So our nonfiction text features teach us so much information about our topic, and it's a way to find more information. We already know that we can use our nonfiction text features to help us make predictions, to help us find out information about the text. So let's go ahead and finish reading this text. Yesterday, we left off on this page. Name the parts. Remember, I asked you to make a prediction about what you thought you were going to learn about in this section. If you said that you thought you were going to learn about the parts of a plant, you were correct. You might have even said, I predict that this section is going to be about the parts of the plant and what they do. You would be correct. Your prediction was confirmed. So let's go ahead and finish reading. Name the parts. Not all plants grow flowers, but many of them do. Some flowers are tiny and difficult to see. Other flowers are big and brightly colored. Look at all the different shapes of the flowers on this page. Every part of a plant has a name and a job to do. We have named the parts of this plant. Every flowering plant, even if it looks very different from the one in the picture, has these parts. We see here we have the flower, the petal, the leaf, the bud, the stem, and the roots. So this is also a diagram telling us what the parts of the plant are. New plants. Plants start their lives in all kinds of different ways. A sunflower grows from a seed. Some new plants grow from tubers under the ground. The potatoes we eat are tubers. A new potato plant grows from an old potato. An onion plant grows from an onion, which is a kind of bulb. A giant oak tree grows from an acorn. An acorn is a type of seed called a nut. So there are lots of ways that new plants grow. Some of your parents may have planted bulbs in the garden. You may have even helped them plant some bulbs. Grow a seed. Beans like these are kinds of seeds. They will grow into a bean plant. New beans that you can pick and eat will grow on the plant. You can try growing some beans. You can use a jar. You can use an absorbent piece of cotton or a paper towel with water on it, and you can put the beans in between the layers of the wet paper towel, and your bean seed will sprout. Let's learn about pollen and how pollen helps plants. Look inside some flowers and you will see a long, thin stalk covered in a yellow powder. The stalk is called a stamen, and the yellow powder is called pollen. Can you see the long stamens covered in pollen in all these different flowers? Flowers use pollen to make their seeds. To do this, pollen has to be carried from one flower to another flower. How can this happen when plants can't move? Can you think about how pollen gets from one flower to another? What's that little creature that flies? That's right, bees. Something else does the job for them, flying insects, and sometimes even birds and bats. A bee lands on the dandelion to drink sweet juice called nectar. Pollen rubs off onto the bee's back. The bee flies off carrying the pollen to a new flower. Now this flower will be able to make seeds for a new plant to grow. Some plants use the wind to carry pollen. Wind blows sedge pollen from flower to flower. This section is called Come to Dinner. I want you to notice all of our text features our headings, our captions over here, photographs, and bold print words. Flowers open out in the warm weather when insects are buzzing around looking for food. The flowers can give them this food. Most flowers make sugary nectar. Other flowers make extra pollen for the insects to eat. Now they must make sure the insects find them. Flowers have different ways of inviting insects to come to dinner. Butterflies visit brightly colored flowers. Moths cannot see bright colors because they fly at night. They visit flowers with a sweet smell. An iris has guidelines that show insects where to land to find the nectar. Hummingbirds have long beaks to reach for nectar inside brightly colored flowers. These orchids trick male insects into visiting them by looking just like a female insect. Lots of different ways flowers attract pollinators. Fruits and seeds. When colorful petals have done their job, they die and fall off the flower. Now you can see the fruit forming. The fruit contains the seeds. Rose petals die, leaving a bright red rose hip. The hip is the fruit. It is full of seeds. Sunflower heads are packed with striped seeds. There are thistle seeds inside tiny fruits at the end of each of these fluffy parachutes. When the orange blossom petals die, tiny oranges start to grow. Pips inside the oranges are seeds. New chestnut trees grow from shiny nuts. Spreading seeds. Can you think of ways that seeds move from one place to another? You can make a prediction. Think about how a seed might get from one place to another. That's right. The wind can carry them. Animals can carry them on their fur. Lots of different ways. When you buy a packet of seeds, you plant the seeds carefully and make sure they have water and sunlight. Seeds of wild plants have to do this job for themselves. Fruit and nuts are good to eat, and this can be a good thing for the plant too. Birds eat berries, and the seeds fall onto the ground in their droppings. Squirrels bury or store nuts for the winter and often forget where they are. The birds and squirrels have planted the seeds. Look at these other ways that seeds get spread around. Cranesbill seed pods burst open when they are touched and the seeds shoot out. Maple seeds whirl away from the tree on wings. Little hooks on the burrs catch onto the fur of a passing animal and are carried away. Starting again. Start anywhere on the circle and follow it around to see how poppies start a new life each year. In the summer, insects visit the bright red flowers. They take pollen from one flower to the next. In the spring, rainfall and the warmer weather help the seeds start to grow into a new plant. The petals drop off and a head full of seeds is left behind. Wind blows the seed head and seeds shake into the ground. Dirt and leaves cover the seeds in the autumn. The seeds lie under the earth during the cold winter. So that is the seed cycle and how the new plants grow. So I know you've learned so much in the pages that we just read, all about seeds, how we make new seeds, parts of the plant, how the life cycle of a plant rotates around and around. It comes back each year. So you're going to be working on a research project about plants. Your teacher is going to put some videos in about parts of a plant, things plants need, videos that you can watch. You can also go on Pebble Go and research plants and learn all about different plants and their habitats. you're going to be picking a specific plant to do your research on. And you're going to be talking about the parts of your plant, what your plant needs. So we can't wait to find out what you learn about the plant that you choose. Think about your nonfiction text and things that you can learn from your nonfiction text. I'll see you soon.